Hello and welcome to the Pillow Talk podcast. I'm Holden Bailey. I'll be your host today, filling in for Scott here at the Center of Excellence here in Glasgow. We're joined here by Jane Mack, and she's an industry expert in holiday lets, short-term rentals, and just anything in the property management. So Jane, just first off, thank you for coming on to the show today. And can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your story?
Of course, yes. Thank you very much for having me. It's actually lovely to be here and being here in person, which is even nicer. I generally don't get to do podcasts in person. So I started my property management journey back in 2010. And my husband and I had a business on the Isle of Arran, which we moved to Arran for the business. We actually moved there for it. And we were just managing holiday lets, just doing the management, that was it. And then we decided to expand it. We brought in the bookings, the advertising, and we just grew it. We did a lot of streamlining in it, a lot of changing of services, and really just grew over time with the plan of this is how this is our life now here. This is what we'll do. And then we were approached by a large UK national company who wanted into the market. They couldn't get in because we were there. So after about a year of talks, we decided to sell to them. And then we continued to work for them as well for a few years. I am just still running the local office and keep doing everything else it was doing. After about a few years, I left and decided to go out on my own into the world of consulting and coaching. Dabbled in a few different areas, did some social media management, some Facebook ads, got my coaching accreditation. And then I really niched it down back into the holiday let side of things, because that's where my experience had been. I had over 10 years of hands-on experience working with the owners, with the guests, in the actual day-to-day life of it. And I thought, I can help others with this. I can help other property managers. I can help holiday homeowners. I've moved since last year down into that particular industry and helping holiday let agencies and homeowners to grow their business, start their businesses up, and to run their businesses.
Oh, that's great to hear. And, you definitely have had a long journey and a variety of different backgrounds here in the property management expertise, but kind of just going on to your consultant business, what success stories have you seen with some of your clients?
So since I started that last year, I had a client I worked with over the winter, and she was in the business had grown quite quickly, because a lot of people in this industry tend to fall into the industry, kind of fall into the job without any plan or strategy. And then it grows, and then they get to a point where it's like, everything seems overwhelmed and disorganized. So I spent time with her and we restructured the business. We streamlined some of her services. We actually got her charging for things that she wasn't charging for. So when we looked at everything that she did and the time taken, realized there was thousands of pounds just not being charged for. So we got everything in place with new owner contracts, services set up, and got her processes all set up to actually make the money she's due, that she should be doing. And she's much more organized now, because her big thing was she needs to get organized before she can then grow. She wants to then try and grow the business a bit further. But she was at a stage where it was all too disorganized to do that. So we had a deep dive into her business, and now she's at a stage where she's really confident in her business. She's actually saying no to owners. Beforehand, she was just doing everything that anybody asked of her, afraid to say no in case they then left and she would lose all her clients. So we got her to a point where actually it's your business and you run it how you want, and you charge your prices because that's the value you're worth. And now she does that. So she would hit the summer with a really good structure in place and ready to go for the winter when she starts to grow again. So that was really, really good. Just seeing that change in her was fantastic.
It's great to hear that you're just giving these people the independence to run their own organizations. And that kind of brings up a topic that I'm curious to learn too, just being in the property management industry, is just the technology part of it. And I saw that you're really experienced with social media. So can you just tell me what ways of technology can be implemented into the property management industry to help different property managers?
Yeah, definitely. Every property manager will have some form of PMS, like property management system. That goes without saying, because you really cannot do the business without it. You need something. And that's obviously going to depend whether maybe you've got 5 properties or we've got 50 properties, whatever. You need something there to help you, because that's where your automations come in. That's your time-saving side of things, where you can actually sit back and let the business run in the background for you. I think as well with those systems, it's about getting the right one for your business. Because if you're wanting to grow and maybe double your number of properties, or aim for 300, 400, 500 properties, you need a system that's going to be able to sustain that and grow with you and be able to take 500 properties. And at that stage, you're doing a lot of owner statements, you're doing a lot of financials with it, and you want to be able to get those reports and everything very quickly and easily rather than being manual with it. And obviously, if you have the smaller properties, then of course you don't need such a big system, but you just need the ones that are right for you to do the jobs that you needed to do, especially automating things that your guest communications. That's the big one, to make it easier. So from the moment they book right through when do they arrive at a property. Other systems out there's a lot of really great systems that unfortunately I didn't have in my day because they didn't even exist because I was like too far back when I did it. But there's things like different apps for like housekeeping apps, and there's things where you can get a good like maybe communication flows between housekeeping and guests, and everything can connect nowadays. So there's just so many things out there that makes life easier. I think it can be a bit overwhelming because there's so many. A lot of property managers will say, who do you recommend? Which would you choose? And I could never recommend one because what's right for somebody might not be right for somebody else. That's quite a personal choice. But what I do say is look at what you're doing now. Look at the areas where you think, oh, I would really love to click a button and get that report, or this is a big gap here. Why are we doing so much manual processes with these different areas? That's where you need your system to then come in to do, and that's what you need to look at and do a bit of research. But it really, really does. I mean, the technology there is fantastic, and it's there to make their lives easier. So embrace it, use it, try it, do the demos, and embrace it.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing just with working with entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's like you have to embrace innovation if you want to move forward. And, kind of just speaking and hearing that conversation, as you said, that one of the key things is just communication. And, I think a big thing this summer is people really want to have good reviews on the website, such as Trustpilot. So from your recommendation experience, what is the best thing for property managers to maximize getting a great guest review?
Certainly, I would say the overall customer journey is really important. So from the moment they book right through to when they arrive at a property. So that comes with like the guest communications come into that, and that the information they get, like from travel directions to the property, how they access the property, the key information, excuse me, all that is really important right at the start to make sure that they arrive at the house on a good foot, everything's gone well, because if a guest arrives with anything gone wrong, that sets them off in that bad way. They tend to find things, they look for things in. So that's really important, is that first start of the journey. Certainly, I would say having a really well-equipped property. So it's really important to know who your guests are. Who is your ideal guest? Are you attracting families? Are you attracting, is it just couples, or is it elderly people? Maybe out of season. Who is it that you're attracting? Because that way you can fit your house around them. You can provide the facilities, the amenities. You can provide all the equipment they might need in order for them to have a really good stay. So very much about the experience they get. Nowadays, the more you provide, the better, because what you don't want is a guest arriving at the house and then going, oh, we were going to, make a lasagna, but there's no lasagna dishes. Oh, we can't do that now. Or let's go on a picnic. Oh, there's no baskets, or we've no Tupperware boxes, or right, there's no picnic blankets, or maybe we can't do that. It's taking that away from them so they can walk into the property, have their plans, and lift and go. Oh, that's great. There's a picnic basket. That's fantastic. Or there's loads of outdoor plastic cutlery and crockery for the kids. Great. We can have our barbecues. That's nice and easy for us. And it's making it easy for them, so they don't really need to think, oh, we need to go and find that. We need to buy it, or, we need to change our plans. It's making it easy. And that gives them that really great experience. And then but even, there's the equipment in the property, but even everything else you can offer in it. So if it's three simple things like having summer and winter duvets. The UK weather is so changeable. You could never predict what's it going to be, how warm it's going to be, and things like that, because it makes for a much comfortable stay for them. Having those options in the property, because having a high-end property, a lot of it's not just about having the highest thread count, but it's the options they have. Have you got this lovely room and there's a seat where somebody could sit and read a book, but there's no light there, it's really poor lighting, well, put a standing lamp there. Simple things that make it such a nicer experience for them, and it just makes it feel a bit more luxurious to them during their stay.
Definitely. I think that's a quote I live by my old American football coaches: the small things add up to the big things.
Yeah,
and it's really true.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when owners are maybe looking at their properties thinking, oh, I need to upgrade it, they think, oh, we need a brand new kitchen and we need all this fancy stuff, and fancy bathrooms and big showers. And it's not always about that. It's about those things like, well, you've got this empty space maybe in a bedroom and you've got this lovely bay window. Well, put a table and a couple of little chairs there, let them sit there and have a morning coffee looking at the view. Things that, these don't cost a lot of stuff. Having extra blankets, so that if they are cold, they can just use put those on at night. Have some hot water bottles ready for them. It's all those little things that they can use. Having the extra lights, having a variety of seating in the living room for because not everyone wants to slouch in a big soft sofa. Some people maybe have back problems and need a more firmer chair, like a tub chair, or maybe a higher chair if you have maybe older visitors that come, and maybe you need something that's a bit more suitable to them. So there's so many, it's like options, there's so many things you can do, but it's just small things. It doesn't have to be, renovating the whole house. It's just looking at what you've got and how you can improve the overall experience for the guest.
Definitely, speaking with that, with just guest satisfaction, you're kind of talking about, having to keep things up to date. And I think another thing to keep things up to date is just with the latest trends in this industry.
Yeah.
So for you, we're just looking in the holiday let and short-term let industry. What are some of the trending tips that you see right now that you can give to property managers?
So, the market changes all the time. It's a constant. And I would always say, always be watching to see what's happening out there. And certainly always, I would say, go to any events, any summits, any conferences, go there, because they're going to pick up all the little things that you wouldn't even be thinking about. Because if you think in the day in the life of a property manager, they're not always out there looking at what's happening. So take the time, I would say, certainly go take the time and go to these 1 or 2 day conferences to really suck in the knowledge and the new things happening in your market and industry. One of the big things at the moment is all about sustainability. That is huge at the moment, and it's only going to keep growing. And actually this morning on my way over here, I was on LinkedIn, I was reading a post from somebody, and they'd said that it's around 70% of UK travellers look for sustainability in the property, and or they look for sustainability certainly in their travelling and their where they're going to. So it's grown so much already, and I'm learning lots more about it because it's quite a new thing to me as well. And this part, I think, is actually somebody's going to be talking at Scale UK in London, and that's why I was reading it, going, oh, I'm going to go and see that talk, because actually that's really good for me to keep on top of things. But what I've learned so far about this is that guests they like sustainability in the property, but they also like sustainability around about them and in the area they're going. So people they like to get involved in maybe local initiatives, and if there's local a beach clean, things like that are going on that's helping the environment of the area that they're going to, then they like to get involved in these. So it's letting guests know about what's happening in the area around these things. If there's sort of ecological things, or if there's things that like beach cleans. I say beach cleans because that was a real popular one in Ireland. We get all the time. But even in the house, trying to get rid of the single-use plastic bottles and using, one-use plastic bottle that they just keep topping up with washing up liquid, or hand soap and shampoo, things like that they leave. And it's just been able to do lots more things in the property that makes it more sustainable for guests. Leaving reusable shopping bags, and to let people take those rather than always getting lots of plastic. So I think sustainability is huge now, and I would really urge lots of people, really property managers, just to look at your properties and see, where can you start, where can you be looking at to become more sustainable. And I know there's a 𝗁cie𝗱브◆, which is a certification for sustainability. They offer lots of support in that, in terms of all the small things that you can do. It's not a case of you've now got to put solar panels in and new heating systems. These are really small, inexpensive things that you can do just to start making your property more sustainable. So that's a big one, certainly in that trend. Collaborations with local businesses, that's another big trend, where people are starting to go beyond just their property, but it's about the people in the location. So it's, can you, maybe a guest on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things they do is that they collaborate with the local butcher, and they offer breakfast, like a breakfast pack, and obviously a nice price for the guest as a thank you, and that helps both businesses. So the butcher gets the business from somebody who might not have previously known about that butcher. I think it also helps promoting each other's businesses, and that also comes down to that whole sustainability. It helps the local area get some extra income and be known about, their services or the products that they offer. And it's just everybody promoting and helping each other. So collaboration's is a big one, and more and more people are now getting on board with that. And you see it on social media as well. You see a lot of property management companies, they're not just promoting their properties, they're promoting the local area and the gift shops or the cafes, or, the nice delis and patisseries and anything like that. They're showcasing all of them. For the experience, which is great for the guests to see that's what you can get when you're there, but it supports the local business and it promotes them as well.
It's a really great way to put it.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a grassroots effort, and
Yeah.
everyone's kind of getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And just with that being said, you kind of touched up on some of the strategies to attract the right guests, but also what are some different strategies to attract guests to kind of maximize bookings for a
Yeah.
property manager?
So one of them, obviously, so many people talk about direct bookings now, and obviously social media is a big one for that. It's not the be all and end all one, obviously, because there's more ways out there. But the social media side, one of the biggest things with that, I would say, is make sure you really know who your ideal guest is, because there's no point putting all these really well curated posts out there and you're not actually talking to the right person. So it's about knowing who they are, and if it's families, then you're going to talk about families and activities for kids and all those sort of family friendly aspects of the property and the location. So it's knowing exactly who your ideal guest is. So that's really important with that whole, with your social media strategy. And with that, obviously, you want to be quite strategic about it. Plan in and know what events are happening in the area. What can you be promoting in advance to let people know several months in advance to book in to be there for a certain event or a festival, or things that are happening. So it's having that strategy rather than just winging it and just putting posts out every day. Other things like you can give guest referral systems. If you've got somebody who's come to stay, then how can you get them to refer a friend? Give them incentives to do that. And same with repeat bookers, give them an incentive to why would they want to come back. And it's having that bit of personalization of, you've come to my property, we really appreciate you staying, we want you to come back, you've stayed 3 times now, let's offer you something. And it gives that personal side to it. I think a lot of guests, excuse me, they do love the personal side to it, because it just makes them feel a bit more, they really value my custom, that I've come here. And also when you start doing that, just build that bit of trust as well around the, for the guests and wanting to stay with your property. Other things, there's things like email marketing, huge. I think a lot of people are really starting to get into that now who hadn't been doing it in the past. So a really good strategy to continually be at the forefront of your, if it's past guests, then you're always in their mind. You're saying, this is what's happened. It doesn't have to be, here's offers all the time. But once again, here's what maybe you've made a change in the property, or here's what's happening in the area, or there's a new restaurants opened up. It's always letting them know why they should come back to you and why they want to come back to you and to your area. And it's just being consistent with it as well, rather than sort of dropping off and then 6 months later, hello, here's an email, and say, they forget. But it's been that consistent way with them, but doing it in the right way, being consistent in the right way, rather than just, firing out emails or posts but not really know who you're talking to or what about, having that strategy there.
Exactly. Just kind of staying with, again, like you were saying before, the trends. And I know that can be a challenge, definitely just keeping up with things. But just speaking of challenges, what is the other big challenges that property managers face today?
I'd say at the moment, one is always housekeeping. Always. I think just getting housekeepers is so difficult. It was difficult when I did it. It's still difficult to this day. There's there's the option of, do we employ them ourselves? Of course, that's quite costly when you bring in your tax, your national insurance, pensions, and everything that goes with it. But yet it has the good side of they're an employee, so it's you're easier to manage them. But if you bring them in self-employed, then you're having to really trust that. Are they going to be, will they turn up on time? Are they reliable? Will they be conscientious enough to do the right job? And is there enough people in the area? So that's always a really tough one, that depending on the area. So if you're maybe more rural in parts of the country, it can be really hard to get enough housekeepers to come and do the job. So as much as you might want to grow your business, bring on more properties, that can be a bit of a barrier, is getting the right people in. Maintenance as well, getting the right trades in can be really difficult, just because, once again, it depends on your area. Certainly all the, so the main areas which are really saturated with properties, all these trades are going to be busy because everybody's going to need them. So once again, do you employ somebody to be in sort of in-house maintenance? Once again, you have the extra cost of that. Or do you just keep trying to, to get your local trades in? So those are your everyday sort of hands-on, feet in the ground issues that they come up against. I think as well, sometimes we'll get those challenge of, how can I step back from the day-to-day tasks and actually focus on trying to grow the business? Because as a property manager, you get pulled in a million directions all the time. Everybody wants you and everybody needs you. And as much as you go into work with the best will in the world of, I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to look at the marketing, or I'm going to look at my finances, or whatever you plan to do, which is working on your business, you will get pulled in lots of different directions. So stepping back is quite difficult for them. And I think sometimes you think, oh, I'll never be able to do it. How could I? Because I'm the owner of the business, so I have to be here all the time, and I have to be the one that owners speak to, and I have to be the one that manages everything. But they don't. They don't have to. But it's about getting the right people in place and the training so that you can sort of start to delegate and be able to step back a bit. So yeah.
Yeah, that segues into my next question really nicely. Is like you wanting to take a step back and kind of look at the overall picture, but also what are some tactics for like operational strategies for property managers to kind of just balance their work-life balance with outside of their industry as well.
Good question. Work-life balance and property management don't always go together. I have been there and done it. I know how hard it felt. But I also have stepped away from it and got a balance. First, I would say is to do start putting some trust in. If you get the right people in your team, do the training and trust them to do the job you've brought them in to do, and delegate to them. You've brought somebody in to do a job, let them take the responsibility of it. Give them extra responsibility so you can take that's maybe one task that comes off your hands that you don't need to do, and that person can handle it. I think a lot of it is about getting the right people in and delegating. That's a huge part, because if you don't do that, you'll never go away for a holiday or a break without always thinking, "Oh, they need me. Everybody needs me. I need to be there." I think as well, from an HR point of view, because I have a previous HR background, it's very important. I think just when you do give employees that little bit of responsibility and trust, it empowers them to actually do a better job. So sometimes it just takes a bit of time to kind of put the trust in yourself to go out to do it and let them get on with the job they're there to do. But that's the biggest, I would say, is the delegation. You've got to get the right people in and delegate. What I would say is, if you do go away on holiday, you go for a long weekend or a week's holiday, your business will not fall apart just
Right. Sorry about the technical issues there, everyone. We're back here live, and I believe we were just talking about, actually, I forget what we were talking about with the
So do
technical
I.
issue.
It's thrown me. What was I talking about? Challenges property managers had. We
Yeah.
talked about all of that. And then I can't remember.
Oh, that's okay. I
What
think
was
you had a really good answer. I think we'll just go on to our next one
the
here,
next
folks.
one? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the next one is, there's a lot of different market changes, especially in the summertime.
Yeah.
We're hitting the month that's probably the most crucial month in the property management industry, as it being packed. So, how can property managers adapt to such fluctuating demand in the market right now?
Certainly in this time of year, it's always a tough one in July and August, because of everything else that goes on in the business anyway. I would say, keeping an eye on your bookings in terms of, where have you got gaps? If you've got some places I've heard fully booked, all great. Other places locations are going, we've got gaps, we never have gaps, and why have we got these? So I think, keep marketing, letting people know, and keeping that side of it going. Because I know sometimes people think, oh, the bookings are okay, they're coming in, and we sort of step back a bit in the marketing. Don't step back on it at all. Where there's gaps, look at the gaps and see what can you offer out to people. Have you got empty nights? Maybe somebody's coming from a Friday to Monday. Is Thursday available? Contact them. Ask them, look, do you want to stay an extra night for whatever, how much money, or do you want to stay on an extra day and give them a bit of an offer, just to try and it brings in some income for the owner, it fills an extra night, and sometimes you'd have to do a bit of that manual intervention, and I think as well, just at this stage, looking forward into the winter to see, well, actually that's quieter time. How can we start filling that now? Start looking ahead at your winter bookings as well. So at least if you start seeing the bookings come in and owners start seeing them come in, it takes a bit of pressure off. I mean, the UK weather, we can't control that. And yes, it does push people abroad these last couple of years, because it's so unsettled, it's inconsistent. And some people think, I want to go and not have any rain on my holiday. I want a holiday where I can get a bit of heat. So that we can't control. But I think, even speaking to, trying to promote your property around what can you do if it was wet weather? What else can you do? Why else would you come to the area? And trying to, I suppose, take the focus away from the Great British Summer Holiday, but let's actually look at focusing on the location. Why would you come here? And, I think it's just a consistent, you've just got to keep on top of it and keep looking at what you've got and what's available. Have a look around, see what, other properties and businesses in the area, are they fully booked? Have they got gaps? And if they have, then it's not just you. But it's just, I think, just keeping a really close eye on it and really trying to focus on those. If you've got empty weeks, well, where can you fill them? Can you add in whoever's been there before? Can you contact them? Sometimes a bit of an offer and a discount out there, if it brings people in. Sensible offers. You don't want to completely slash your prices, and then doesn't make worthwhile for the owner. But work closely with your owners and see, would you be happy to discount? Would you be happy for different prices? Could we promote this? A lot of them probably would be. Most of them are quite happy to see you take that initiative and to see, well, at least if we get something in, then it's better than it's sitting empty. But yeah, it is a difficult one now, because it's we're hoping that it settles. But there's a lot of, cost of living and everything. It's throwing everybody out. So it's a bit of a difficult time at the moment for people.
Yeah, certainly. But like you said, I think the discounts are such a big thing. Working here at the marketing department at 𝗶𝗆, that's something that we really like to do, is try to have discounts. Like you said, nothing huge to slash, but that nice 30% to 35% discount can really make a big impact. And plus, it doesn't just have to be for a one-night stay. What we usually do is about 4-night stay, and then you get that 30% off. And I think we see a lot of success with that. Speaking with that too, and how competitive it is. And I think this really ties into email marketing. How important is it to have, really quality pictures, on the socials, on these listing sites of your properties? Because something, Scott really emphasizes about is just having quality furniture can make a big difference. If someone's going to actually, book that reservation. So from your perspective, how important is that to have a good, commercial visual of these different properties?
Huge. Absolutely hugely important. It makes such a difference, because if you think about it, when somebody goes online, the first thing they're going to see is the pictures. That's what they'll see. If they've not been there before, your pictures need to sell it to them. So it's not even just the picture, but the staging of it. If you've got a lovely log burner there and you've got seats beside it, then put a table there with a nice glass of red wine or a whiskey glass with a bottle of whiskey or something to show people you sit there and have a nice glass of wine. Certainly in Scotland, get the local, if it's a local place, we've got local whiskies, use that, staging it, set the table, show people what it would look like for dinner or for breakfast, or if you've got a nice decking area outside, then put out some big jug of juice and some glasses to show, well, actually that, sitting out there in the sunshine, it's sell experience to them, let them see how they could experience and use the property rather than them having just looking at, oh, those are nice sofas, that's a nice living room. Oh, but look, imagine sitting there with that, with the wine there or coffee in the morning. Showcase it and stage it for them. I think that's hugely important, is to actually show them what they could have when they're there, because you've got to jump out now in front of people. You've got to stand out against the competition. And that's where your photographs need to do that for you, and say that staging to let them see actually what they get in the property and how they could be using it. So, and I know you can take great photos with iPhones. I can't, I'm not very good at it. So, but definitely getting professional photographs done. They don't cost the earth, but you will get the money will be bought back in your first booking straight away. And it's just forward from then onwards. So it's definitely worth that investment of getting good proper photos in, but the staging alongside it to kind of showcase and sell that experience to your guests.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You got to put money back in the business to get out of it. So yeah, we're going to just take some questions here from our audience. So apologies for our technical problem. Actually, our comments went away, but I think another comment for me is just, people are really interested in this industry, especially a lot of young people I've noticed to get into property management. So what keys of advice would you give to someone that's kind of thinking about maybe coming into this industry to be a property manager? What would you say to them?
What would I say? My goodness. So I would say, first of all, is it's not a quick win, easy job. It's a very rewarding job, but you do need to have a bit of a thick skin, because you're dealing with owners, but you're also dealing with guests. You've got two sets of customers, so you've got to be prepared to deal with different levels of people in different situations. One set are on holiday, another one you're looking after a huge thousands of pounds worth of investment for them. So I think flexibility as well, be able to be flexible and adaptable, because no day's the same, every day's different, and be able to realize that you actually need to chop and change when things arise, and being able just to think on your feet is really important, because it's a very reactive industry in property management. But it also is really rewarding when you have guests that leave and come and tell you what an amazing stay they had, how they loved the property, or how, usually if it's been a one-off holiday or a special family occasion, or the first holiday since, I used to always get the first holiday since the death of a husband or a father, and you've made this amazing holiday for them. You think you've done that. That is a really, really good feeling when you can create that for somebody. So it kind of puts all that hard work behind the scenes, because you do feel as if you're always running behind the scenes. And then the guests walk into these beautifully presented, gorgeous properties, but the work that's gone in behind is huge. But at the same time, it's so rewarding when that pays off and those people come and say, I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. And even when owners come to you and, they say, they're covering their costs, they're really happy with your service, and they give you really good feedback, it does make it realize how worthwhile that it is. But I think it's just, just don't go in with an open mind as well, because it's there's a lot of changes all the time in it, but it can be in a good way. So it's just a very, very reactive. But if you're happy for a different thing happening every day and different change, and sometimes you're in the office, or maybe you're at houses, properties, or you're doing different things, then that's a great job for you. If you want to sit behind a desk 9 to 5, it's not going to be the job for you, because you'll not sit 9 to 5 behind a desk in property management.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the more, at least from my generation, I think more of us kind of want to have that flexibility of not always being in the office. And I think that's it's greater working around different property managers about my age, is that they really enjoy that flexibility. Kind of going back, I think on one big question, is kind of the title of this whole podcast is maximizing profits for short-term lets. Do you have any other recommendations, whether it's a long-term strategy or short-term strategy on how to maximize your profits for holiday lets?
As a property man, or as a homeowner, or as a property manager, like as a homeowner, or
a homeowner?
As a homeowner, I think one of the big things is always do keep an eye on your finances of what you're spending, because sometimes we start doing things and whether you, I don't know, subscribe to something or you buy things, and you don't really pay attention to what it is you're doing. And then you look at it and go, why am I spending all this money? So I think it's been quite strategic in terms of, right, what's the income coming in terms of my bookings? What do I need to provide for my guests? Do you want to provide a welcome basket? Yes, it's a really good idea to do because they like that. Do you need to spend 60, 70 pounds every week? No, you don't. How can you do it? There's lots of little ways you can provide the same, I suppose, products or services, but not at a huge price. I would say certainly, putting your focus into your marketing, because that's what's going to bring you the outcomes. But also just that putting your focus into your actual guests as well, the current guests, because your repeat customers are your cheapest guests you're going to get. It's free marketing essentially because they've already been. Looking at how you how you upgrade your property, things like your bedding and your furniture. Shop around and find the right place. Find different places to shop, or find where can you get the best value for something, but you're not spending a fortune. Everything doesn't have to be about the highest of qualities. Good quality, yes, but depending on your property and who you're letting to, then you can get a lot of things like linen and just your everyday essentials. You can get those at really good prices. Always being aware of, you're going to always have to have some money go back into the property to reinvest back in. Because you're going to have maintenance issues, you're going to have repairs and renewals, and you're going to have just, linen needs replacements and things like that on an annual basis. So it's being very aware that you do need to keep some money aside for that. Obviously how you actually market, some people will do it all themselves, try to do it themselves. Some people will use third parties for that. Obviously that comes with commissions with that. So it's looking at, well, how does it best work for you? Where, be very aware of where your bookings are coming from. If you're using different agencies, looking at your data and seeing, well, where am I spending the most money? Actually, are they bringing me anything? Am I spending money paying an agency but I don't actually need to be? So I could take that and put it elsewhere. So it's always review your data you've got, always, in terms of where people are coming from, where's my money going into, where's my marketing channels, what am I spending, what do I not need to be spending? And I think there's that continual review in the property, just making sure, listen to your guest feedback. If there's something there they keep asking for, then put it in. If there's a problem somewhere, then deal with it before it gets out of hand. But it's just sometimes those small things as well just mean that people will return. And if you can keep on top of everything, then you're just continually giving that good service to people, and obviously pushing towards good reviews. Because once again, a review sells, because that's like free marketing again. Your guest is doing it for you. They're putting a good review forward for you.
I think that's so critical too. As a marketer, I do a lot of my research, and one stat that really stood out to me, I believe 𝗁cie𝗱브Ｈ said 89% of people respond positively if someone, it could be a property manager, a restaurant, or whoever that's reviewing a comment responds back and gives them a solution. So, I think that's something that's really crucial here is to understand, is that a negative comment can actually become a positive situation and lead to a client if you just address it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know everybody says, oh, the customer's always right. I'm going to disagree with that in the world of property management, because quite often they're not. And I've had times where we've had, I've had a guest in who said, oh, there's no cleaning kit, or there's not this and there's not that. And you've gone, well, actually it's here, and you've gone to the property and showed them, well, here it is. And then they put a review on, it's really bad, and said, oh, there was no cleaning kit, there wasn't this. And you think, but I came and spoke to you, and I told you there was. So that's always my way of thinking, well, you're not right. You've just put that review on, which is actually incorrect. So, by responding to that, which obviously we responded, it just shows that actually that guest is actually wrong. Even though they've given it a low scoring, it's now let people see, oh, it was rubbish actually, because you've responded and said, well, actually, there was these things here. I came to the house and we had that discussion. Thanks, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand why people do it. But anyway, you're right. If somebody does put something negative on, always respond to it. And certainly, we're not all perfect. We all make mistakes. We miss things. Of course we do. We're only human. And there are times when we go, hold our hands up. That was our fault. Yeah, we missed it. And we've apologized. We corrected it. We've, maybe given you a voucher for a restaurant, or week when you bought the wine, or we've given you something as an apology. Is it, a bit of a wee bit of just something nice to say sorry. And you put that on it to show that I'm only human. I hold my hand up to it. So once again, it might be a lower review, but at the same time, you're also just saying, I'm just human and this has happened, I apologize. So to me, I mean, that never puts me off if I see that happening. Because I read reviews too, obviously. It doesn't put me off if I see the owners going back and said, yeah, really sorry it did happen, but we've done this. And you think, well, fair enough. That's absolutely fine. So I think that's important, just to always have that communication back and forth. And even if it's a positive review, just go on and say thanks. Thanks so much for your review. We hope to see you again. That's those as well. It just shows that it's that connection you're making to the customer, and also just letting them show you appreciate their comment. You've actually taken the time to respond to them. It always helps.
Absolutely. And I think I'll share one marketing tip. As I was discussing with you, I do have a background in marketing, working on the team here, also with a bachelor's in it. But when it comes to reviews, people actually don't want 5-star reviews. They actually want something about the 4.0 range, 4.2, 4.5. So I don't think it's always necessarily a bad thing. If, like you said, if someone gives a negative review, as long as you just, comment back, do your research, it'll actually build more credibility, as you said, and people are going to look for that more 4.0 something range instead of a 5. So I just think it's so powerful. So it's great to hear your take on that.
I mean, I think if you see a property and constant 5-star reviews, some people can look at it as if, I don't believe this. How can everything be perfect? How can there never be anything? How can everybody be happy with everything? Because in this line of work, you will never please 100% of the people 100% of the time. There's always something for somebody somewhere. So to me, always getting those great reviews. Sometimes people are a bit skeptical of it, thinking, is it really? Are they just not putting the bad ones in? Are they just sort of ignoring those? And my owners used to say to me, if somebody put maybe a slightly less than 5-star review, or a slight negative comment, or even just a constructive criticism, or maybe a suggestion, and they'd say, "Oh, can you not put that on?" And I'd say, "Well, no, because people have to see it's a property. It's an ongoing project, if you like. Things happen, things get fixed, things need replaced. It's just an everyday. You've got everybody and anybody coming into your property. So everyone's got their own opinions and thoughts. So the fact that we reply to them, or the owner can reply, it just shows you that actually it's just a property that it's, so it's lived in. These are, I suppose, natural reviews. They're not fake. Nobody's just making stuff up. I said, you need to keep the everyday reviews, and you've got to keep everything in, so, and they do. And I think they didn't like it, but anyway, that's what I did.
Absolutely. No, I think it's great being authentic rather than, just trying to get by.
That was the word, authentic.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of the word. You have to be authentic. You let your reviews be authentic.
Yeah. Absolutely. I guess just my closing, question here is, do you have anything else to just say about, the industry or tips, or just your opinions on anything?
I would just say, the industry is evolving hugely, like way more even when I started doing it. And I always am continually learning in it and following people and conferences and going to things to keep my knowledge going. And I would say to any property manager out there, don't just sit back. Get out there and go to these events and go and learn, because the value you get in these is phenomenal. Even if you come away with 4 or 5 pieces of, really good information that you can implement into your business, then that's another step forward. I would say, continue to take the rough for the smooth. There will be in this industry, but I think, it's also just so rewarding at times. I think, and enjoy it. It's like any job's got the good with the bad, but I think the difference is it's such an evolving industry. There's so much out there now for it, and so much coming this way as well. I think embrace it and enjoy it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, thank you for coming on the Pillow Talk podcast today. We really appreciate it. I think everyone got a lot of great advice here today in the audience. So thank you. And we'd love to have you again in the future. And but thanks again.
Thank you for having me, Holden. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.